Hello and welcome to the Legacy Crusaders YouTube channel. This is Benji, and today I'll be teaching you how to play Burning Abyss Infernoid. Now, normally a deck expert would be on here with me and would be telling me how to play out my hands through a few games on Yugioh Pro, where I would ask questions to kind of be you, the audience, and try and draw out more information. And in this case, we don't have that because there is no expert at Burning Abyss Infernoid that still currently exists, because the former lists were played in the formats where grass exists. And grass currently is forbidden. So I'm going to show you what I'm playing and how it works. It was inspired by a video I just happened to see when just looking up the latest on Infernoids. It was somebody playing BA Infernoid, and they were taking advantage of a new card. We're going to start with the one card combo for Jet Synchron and Halqifibrax. In this case, I've also opened an excellent card, which is Token Collector, which means if our combo should fail, Token Collector will be in our hand or in the graveyard, in this case in the graveyard, to stop our opponent from doing their own Halqifibrax combo using Auroradon or Link Cross. So we're just going to normal Jet Synchron, go into Linkuriboh, activate Jet Synchron's effect to pitch a card to special summon it. So it's a 1 and a X card combo, because the card discarded doesn't matter, but in this case Token Collector works in the graveyard or in your hand, and is activated when a token is summoned. So technically you can use it against yourself. Why would you do that? I don't know. Jet Synchron is a tuner, and Linkuriboh is another monster, so we can make Halqifibrax using both monsters. Halqifibrax will summon from the deck Deskbot 001, which is a machine, and Halqifibrax is a Link 2 machine, so we can link both of them into Auroradon, which requires 2+ monsters that are machines. So we will link into Auroradon, which when summoned will summon 3 tokens that are all level 3 machine wind monsters, which will trigger the effect of Deskbot 001 because 2 or more machines were summoned at the same time. I'm not going to activate Token Collector, but there is a play where you can activate it and stick it onto your board so that it is already preventing your opponent from performing any token-related plays without summoning it out of the graveyard. So I'm going to summon the Deskbot. And now I need to get access to my Borreload Savage. If you can get another level 3 on the board in this process, you can go into Herald first, which would protect you from... it could protect you from Nibiru, because usually your opponent will try to Nibiru you after your Savage is summoned. But if I could just make... if I had another way to get a level 3 on the board, like if I had an Infernoid in the graveyard, I could summon the Harmadic, make Herald first, and then make Savage, but I get stuck with an extra level 3 token. So this is going to summon Olion from the deck. Now I have Olion, which is level 2, and 2 level 3 tokens, which is level 8. I'm going to make Borreload Savage Dragon. Now it's up to you whether you want to put it in attack or defense. If you put it in defense, it is weak to Pankratops. If you put it in attack, it is weak to Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is a 3 of, and Pankratops is a 1 of. So that is a concern to have. But some decks can use other things to get over Borreload Savage Dragon. This will be the second opportunity to summon a Token Collector, but in the combo this is where you would summon it if you had Cherubini in the extra monster zone, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to link into... I'm going to Synchro Summon Herald of the Arclight, and this is 2 negates off of 1 card and any discard. Alright, so that's the basic Halqifibrax combo. We're going to go into more interesting combos you can do with the Burning Abyss engine right now. This will be the simple way to get into the same Halqifibrax combo using just Tour Guide from the Underworld, because Tour Guide can summon from the deck Rubik, which is why it is pictured in the background of this video. We have Rubik, Melbranch of the Burning Abyss. We could just go into Halqifibrax, and this combo at this point is exactly the same as it was before. So in a moment I will show you the combo that you do if you want to get additional value out of this play. Now, assuming you have Tour Guide, you don't need to go straight into Halqifibrax. You can take advantage of the fact that a lot of the Burning Abyss monsters float. So I'm actually going to summon Graph first. This is going to allow me to chain block my Halqifibrax while also getting me Dante in a sort of infinite floating loop into play. So I'm going to Xyz summon Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. I'm going to detach Graph, and I only want to mill 1, and the only reason for that is if I mill Olion, I cannot do Halqifibrax combo. So I'm going to mill 1. I milled Imagination, which sucks, but it will not be relevant to this combo. Next, we will summon Rubik and go into Halqifibrax. And at this point, we get to chain block the Halqifibrax from Ash Blossom, if our opponent was waiting for it, while adding Graph back to our hands. And we're going to summon 001, and the reason I call this a infinite floating Dante is now, every turn after this, if I were to start off by just normaling Graph, it will kill itself and summon Seer from the deck, which will then kill itself and summon Dante from the graveyard. Then when Dante dies, it'll add back Seer, and that will take place every turn for the remainder of the game, unless your opponent should deal with it. The next Tour Guide play will actually be a BA combo played in regular BA decks. I'm going to use Tour Guide to summon Graph from the deck. I'm then going to link summon Cherubini, activate Cherubini to summon from the deck. It doesn't actually matter what I summon in this case. I suppose I should summon Skarm because I will go plus that way, and we're not going to be getting a Dante in this play. Next I'll use Cherubini to send to the graveyard Egypt Sabers, just because I need another monster, and this will get it to me for free. Now I need to have any card in my hand I don't mind putting back in my deck, so in this case I would put back Void Expansion, doesn't really matter. I'm going to then summon Verte Anaconda. I'm going to also activate Verte Anaconda to use Instant Fusion from the deck to summon Winda behind Cherubini, which will prevent Winda from being destroyed by card effects. So this is a one-card combo with just Tour Guide from the Underworld. During the end phase, I will get to search for Skarm, which I can use to get another copy of Tour Guide to perform the Halqifibrax combo on the following turn, if I think Winda is a better way to start the play. Also, I'm only playing one Halqifibrax, so I don't necessarily want to use it right away. And then when Instant Fusion attempts to destroy Winda, it will not be destroyed. And now if your opponent tries to destroy Cherubini, you can destroy Verte Anaconda instead. And they can only normal summon and special summon once. So if they summon two monsters to get over this, you could even set additional cards to protect your Winda. So here is a different combo you can do with just Tour Guide. It does not get you a floating Dante, but it does give your Borreload Savage and your Herald protection. So what you're going to do is you're going to make summon Graph off of Tour Guide, go into Cherubini to summon Rubik from the deck. Technically, any two level 3s can also do the combo, because you'll just make Cherubini, send Graph, and then Graph can summon Rubik, and you can go into Halqifibrax from that. But in this case, I'm going to use Egypt Sabers once again. Well, I don't even have to use Egypt Sabers, I can use Seer to save my hand. But if I didn't care about my hand or I wanted to keep Seer in the deck, I could do that. But this is just going to summon back a BA monster. I'd prefer not to use Seer, because then it gives me something good to do with my next Tour Guide if I were to use Skarm or something. But now we can do Halqifibrax behind Cherubini, and this way both Savage and Herald will be protected from destruction by card effects, which means you don't have to fear Lightning Storm. Matter of fact, your opponents could misplay right into that, trying to Lightning Storm your monsters when they can't be destroyed. Cherubini can, but you can just set back row and destroy those instead, or send them to the graveyard instead. Now, if you draw Instant Fusion in addition to this combo, you can put the Savage somewhere else or the Herald somewhere else, and just save the space in the middle zone or the end zone behind Cherubini to summon the Winda. So you would get a protected Savage or Herald by Cherubini, in addition to a Winda protected by those. Also, the Savage equips the Auroradon, which isn't necessary to stay on the field, in order to keep its effects. So if your opponent tries to destroy Cherubini, you can send the Mecha Phantom Beast to the graveyard instead. So again, if you have Instant Fusion, you also get Winda. So that, I believe, is all the combos you can do with just Tour Guide. We're going to do some combos that also get into the combo in other ways. Tour Guide plus Extender means you get to do a floating Dante in addition to keeping Cherubini and getting Savage and Halqifibrax. So I'm going to use Tour Guide to summon Graph from the deck. Next, I need to make Cherubini first because I need to protect my BAs from being destroyed when the Edge of Sabers comes to the board. Graf is going to summon Seer. Cherubini is going to send Rubik. Next, I'm going to use Void Apocalypse to send Edge of Sabers. Obviously, anytime you use Edge of Sabers or Void Apocalypse, you're negging your hand. Edge of Sabers I will summon by putting back Petrula, which I could not summon anyway. Next, I will make Dante, Traveler of the Burning Abyss. I will mill one, just milling the Seer. Trying not to mill O-Line. It will activate and summon back Rubik. And I get to make Halqifibrax using Dante, which allows me to chain block Dante, chain block Halqifibrax with Dante, and adding Seer back to my hand, so now I have the Seer Dante loop in play. I also have Apocalypse to keep to pitch Seer to get Dante onto field if I don't want to normal summon Seer for next turn, which is pretty cool. In this case, 001's already in the graveyard, so I'm going to summon Jet Synchron. I'm going to go into Auroradon. Now I opened Instant Fusion so I could show you the Winda part of the combo as well, but that's just coincidence in this case. All these combos fall apart a bit if you draw the O-Line, but at the same time you can just shuffle the O-Line back with the Edge of Sabers, so that's why that's in here and not two O-Lines. So I'm going to do put Savage in the protected zone, and I'm going to let Herald just get killed, because Herald always gets run over in battle anyway, so it's making an effort to protect Herald is silly. I almost want to use Herald right away in a lot of cases, because I want to use it before it just gets attacked, because if you use your Savage, your opponent will just normal summon and attack into Herald. So to end this play, I'm just going to activate Instant Fusion and summon Winda, which is just a bonus in this particular case. So this is the board off of Tour Guide, Extender, plus Instant Fusion. Another way to get into Halqifibrax is with Void Apocalypse and Graf or Seer, but technically Void Apocalypse plus any BA monster will accomplish the combo. It's just that if you draw Graf or Seer, you have to pitch it to the graveyard to do the Halqifibrax combo. So in this case, I'm going to activate Void Apocalypse, pitching Graf, which will then send Seer. Now at the resolution of this chain, both of them were sent to the graveyard and can legally be activated. So we will activate Graf and chaining Seer to chain block the Graf. And all this chain blocking doesn't really matter. You might actually want to let these things get stopped with Ash, because your opponent's just going to stop your Halqifibrax, and currently, in your playing BA, they don't even know if you're playing it, so you might actually not want to do this chain block. But the Graf is going to summon Rubik, and we can go straight into Halqifibrax. If we had extenders, we can do other plays, but this is just going to be Halqifibrax off of one BA monster and Void Apocalypse. Here's a similar scenario to the previous scenario. I have a Burning Abyss monster, but it is not Graf or Seer, but it will still accomplish the same goal with Void Apocalypse. So in this case, I'm going to special summon Rubik, because it has no relevant effect that I'd like to use. I'm going to activate Void Apocalypse, and I'm going to pitch. Doesn't really matter what I pitch. I guess I'll just pitch. I will be pitching 001. This way I will be summoning my Jet Synchron later in the combo, which just means it's in the graveyard if I need it later. So Apocalypse is going to send Graf, and Graf is going to summon Skarm, just so I can get a search for Tour Guide for next turn, and I can go right into Halqifibrax. I could go into Cherubini, but I would have to use Cherubini in the to make the needle fiber in this case, so just to demonstrate that, I'm going to go into Cherubini instead here. I would have to send Seer to get back Rubik, so this would just be thinning your deck out of the This would just be thinning your deck of Burning Abyss monsters, which defeats the purpose because you have no use for your tour guides if there's no BAs left to summon. And I'm getting a search off of Skarm anyway in this combo, so I would just go into Halqifibrax at this point. So it would probably make sense to just go into it first. The combo doesn't change from here. We're just going to be summoning Jet Synchron. I'm not going to go any further than this, just in case anyone had forgotten. We used 001 in this particular combo. It doesn't have to come up, but it did come up. It was literally impossible trying to draw 2 BAs to show 2 BAs doing this combo. In this particular case, it's a silly one because we have Rubik and Seer, so we just special Rubik. And because I don't have a normal summon in this case, I would normal Seer. I can go straight into Halqifibrax in this case, but I wouldn't. I would probably go into Cherubini first, and then use Cherubini to revive Rubik, and try and get some value out of Cherubini. So probably in this case, sending Graph to summon Skarm and do the combo behind Cherubini. So that's with 2 BAs. It's kind of like having an extender, because you get this far. I found another hand with 2 BAs in it, so I'm going to normal Graph, which I have to do because Graph is going to special summon Rubik from the deck. I'm going to link summon into Cherubini. I could also overlay for Dante. Actually, that would probably make more sense in this case, but you could do Cherubini or Dante with the purpose of detaching Graph, trying to get Rubik on the field, and then making Halqifibrax. Chain blocking the Halqifibrax with Dante. Adding back Seer. The Infernoids can also be used as extenders. In this case, I specifically open Harmodic, which means I can make use of him for making Cherubini or making Dante, but it doesn't normally need to be the case, because I'm going to start with Dante. I'm going to go Tour Guide into Graph, overlay for Dante, because Dante never stays on the board at the end of these combos. I haven't found a use for Beatrice because there's nothing worth milling in this deck. There's no graveyard effects that activate. Just sending an Infernoid to grave doesn't really do much. I'm going to summon Rubik from the... in this case, would I need Rubik? I guess, yeah, I'll be summoning... Maybe I should have started with the Cherubini, because in this case I don't think I can get to it. Yeah, so if you have to use an extender that isn't a Burning Abyss monster, you're going to actually have to start with your extender, if you can, or make Cherubini first, either way. But I'm going to try and get a similar hand and do this again. So I have Tour Guide plus Monster Reborn, which I will just be reborning Tour Guide to demonstrate what to do in that case. So we're going to start with Tour Guide. So this is similar to the Harmodic that didn't work last turn, or last game. I'm going to Tour Guide into Graph. This will get us access to our... in this case, I can summon Seer first, and I can just mill Rubik with Cherubini, so I'm going to summon Seer in this case. I'm going to Reborn Tour Guide. The one thing you can't do is you can't get your Seer and Rubik under Dante at the same time, or your Dante and... I'm sorry, your Rubik and Graph, or Rubik and Seer under Dante at the same time, because then you can't link it away, because you won't get a monster to do that. So in this case, I have to mill the Rubik, so I'm going to just send it to the graveyard using Cherubini's effect. I'm going to use Dante, detaching the Seer to special back the Rubik, and we get to the combo using any random extender. So in this case we have a floating Dante, we have Savage and Herald, and because we open Instant Fusion we also get Wind Up. Another way to do the combo is to just normal summon Decatron to send an Infernoid to graveyard. It just has to be level 7 or lower, so since I drew my Harmodic, I will probably be sending my Sights Moss. So that's going to remove 2 of the Feast combos from my deck, which isn't the biggest deal. I will special summon Harmodic and link summon into Halqifibrax. So that's another way to get into Halqifibrax rather than just using Jet Synchron. In this case I opened Jet Synchron, so this would definitely be the wrong way to go about this route. You would just use Jet Synchron and save Decatron for a normal summon on the following turn, although we already have Tour Guide, but having the option would have been better. This goofy hand can also get us to combo. We have Decatron, which is a tuner, and Edgem Sabers is a summonable monster by just sending it to the graveyard. So I'm going to activate Void Apocalypse, activating Edgem Sabers, and I can do one of 2 things that makes sense to do. I can either send Sparm to search for Tour Guide, which would make more sense if I didn't have another normal summon, but in this case I'm going to send Token Collector, so it is now a hand trap that's essentially been searched. I'm going to activate Edgem Sabers to return Decatron to the deck, keeping my Velor. Maybe it would have made sense to send the Scarm, but either way you can send Token Collector as a decent backup play. Normal summon Decatron, sending an Infernoid you'd want to be available for you later. In this case, it's probably better to go with a mid-level Infernoid. That way, if your Void Apocalypse is still on the board on the following turn, you can use it to send another Infernoid, and then you have access to Sights Moss right away. And we just go into Halqifibrax and perform the Halqifibrax combo. Now, a lot of these combos will neg you cards, but depending on exactly the route, you're not really going neg. If you shuffle back an Infernoid into your deck using Edgem Sabers and you couldn't summon it anyway, did you really lose anything? If you discard them and they're in the graveyard, did you really lose anything? The other benefit of playing the Instant Fusion is it is just an extender, so it's Decatron plus an extender. So in this case I will probably send Sights Moss, activate Instant Fusion, go into Winda, and another thing about this is if I draw into Monster Reborn later on, I can still use Monster Reborn to revive Winda if I keep my Cherubini. I can get it later. Also, actually, I don't even need my Cherubini because if I Monster Reborn it, it won't be affected by Instant Fusion. In this case, I would probably Void Apocalypse to either send Scarm or Token Collector, depending on what my needs are. There will be times when you open Mecha Phantom Beast O-Lion, which is the one card that really needs to remain in the deck to resolve the combo, but because of Edgem Sabers, it doesn't matter if it winds up in your hand, so we could just use Sabers. In this case, we can either go into Cherubini or we can go into, in this case we're going to go into Cherubini because we need to, we don't have a tuner at the moment. Next we will activate Cherubini to send Graph to summon Rubik. Then we can bring back Edgem Sabers by putting back O-Line, and then we are off to the races. The last combo I wanted to demonstrate before moving on is Tour Guide from the Underworld as a 1-card Boral Sword. I mean, it should be fairly obvious, but just in case it is not, I'm going to demonstrate that now. So I'm going to just go right into Rubik. Nothing fancy here, just go right into Halqifibrax. Instead of summoning Deskbot 01, I'm going to summon Jet Synchron, go into Link Haribo, activate Jet Synchron, pitching anything, and then link these 3 monsters into Boral Sword using a Link 2 and 2 Link 1s, that is 3 plus monsters, and that is a Boral Sword. So I purposely held the deck list back for later in the video because not a lot of people like my deck building. I tend to build decks that are more than 40 cards, not because of any reason other than I think it's actually appropriate for the deck we are playing. Infernoids have a tremendous amount of bricks, and those are their main deck monsters. Now you have to play them. They are engine requirements, they are garnets, they are semi-garnets, if you're familiar with Gemini Garnet and how you needed to run it in your deck to play Brilliant Fusion before it was forbidden. So I am playing a larger deck. Let me run through the count. You can cut things as you will to get it closer to 40. You won't fit in as much things as you need, and your feast combos will not resolve particularly often. So I'm playing 2 Inoku, 2 Deviati, 1 Atondel, 1 Sitesmoss, 1 Sajet, 1 Petrulia, 1 Harmadic, 3 Decatrons, 2 Tour Guides, 1 Edgem Sabers, 1 Seer, 1 Graph, 1 Skarm, 1 Rubik, 1 O-Lion, 1 001, 1 Jet Synchron as my monsters that are not hand traps. For the Void Engine, we have 3 Void Banishment, 1 Void Expansion just to be searched off of Terraforming, 3 copies of Void Apocalypse as it's an extender, 3 copies of Imagination, 3 copies of Feast, 1 Monster Reborn as an extender as well, 1 Instant Fusion as an extender, Cyclone just in case. I just like to make sure that a out exists in my deck. 1 Terraforming to search either Mine going second or Expansion going first. And I'm playing 2 Mines, 1 Dark Ruler No More, 3 Infinite Impermanents, 2 Effect Veilers, 2 Ash Blossoms, and Token Collector as a searchable hand trap. In the extra deck I have 1 Tierra, 1 Winda, 2 Nitess. I would like to get 3 in here. 1 Savage, 1 Herald for the combo, 1 Dante for the combo, 1 Boral Sword, 1 O-Lion, 1 Phoenix for utility, so this is the most cuttable card here, but very dangerous to not have a Phoenix in your extra deck. 1 Halqifibrax. I would consider putting in a second one so that 1 can be used for the turn 1 combo and 1 can be used for the Boral Sword. 1 Cherubini, 1 Verte Anaconda for the combo, 1 Gravity Controller to link off Tierra if it gets stuck on the board, and 1 Link Haribo. The side deck is totally in flux and not finalized whatsoever. Now I was focusing only on hands that can be used to do the Halqifibrax combo and variations on that, so now we're just going to take a look at the few test hands and see what we can do with any random hand we're given. Because I was doing a lot of reshuffle hand just to get the specific starting hands that we needed. First hand is a brick, but it does have hand traps, so if we live, we will draw into a Void Feast for our next card. The next hand is a live Void Feast, plus Tour Guide, plus an extender, so this should be a floating Dante, a full Halqifibrax combo, a Cherubini protecting both cards in the Halqifibrax combo, and a Void Feast behind. Now, Void Feast is at least a recovery play should Tour Guide get negated. We opened 1 card combo. We can also use Apocalypse to set up either Token Collector or Skarm Search for Tour Guide. We also opened Dark Ruler and Terraforming for going second, which is really nice. We'd be top decking Void Feast if we went second, so we would lock our opponent under Mystic Mine while setting up a Void Feast and searching Tour Guide. We'd also have Void Expansion for turning off Mystic Mine. This hand is technically fine. This hand actually, we have Tour Guide, and O-Lion. I think we neg our hand a lot, but we finish with Cherubini, Savage, Herald, and Winda. But I think our hand is empty after that, just because we opened the 001, and we opened the O-Lion. This hand is a double Void Feast with a hand trap, and going second we have hand trap, bait, and Mystic Mine. We would be top decking Sajet though, which would suck. This hand is just a brick. It happens sometimes. We do have Infinite Impermanence and set Skarm, so if we had to go first, we would at least get to search Tour Guide, assuming our opponent didn't kill us. If we were going second, we would be top decking Instant Fusion, which would not extend into the combo, so we probably wouldn't get very far with this particular hand. Decatron plus Ash is a decent open, but not a great one. This is another brick. It opened too many hand traps and an extender for cards we don't have. We would be top decking a Dead Void Feast. This hand is really good. It is Decatron to protect our cards from getting ashed, an ash to stop our opponent from playing, and a Void Vanishment to search a feast, or an Imagination going second. We would also have Mystic Mine should we have gone second. This hand is... what can we do with this? There's no... we can... I mean, it's a pretty weird play, but we'd have to Void Apocalypse, sending Decatron to graveyard by discarding Deviati, Monster Reborning the Decatron to get a tuner, while also putting an Infernoid in the graveyard, and then using Instant Fusion to get into Halqifibrax to do combo, while having a Feast as backup for a future play. So, interesting hand. It does get there, but not the best hand for getting there. Going second, we would have Graph plus Void Apocalypse, but we would have to try and bait our opponent with Imagination, or vice versa. This hand is a mediocre Void Feast, because we opened Petrula and we opened Sajet. So the only combo that's left to do is Sights Moss plus Decatron. Going second, though, Vanishment can be bait, Imagination can be bait, and locking our opponent under Mine. We would have also opened a second Mine. This hand we have Decatron plus Token Collector, so we'd probably normal Decatron, activate Void Apocalypse, discarding Token Collector to send Skarm to search Tour Guide for the follow-up turn. I would probably want to hold Expansion, but it could be used to protect Infernoids and to give you free tokens, but it might not work out too well. This hand isn't great, it's okay. Oh, going second, it would have also had a Sights Moss in it, which would definitely not have helped all that much. This hand is combo by normal summoning Velor and using Harmodic, but going second, this hand would be Veloring your opponent and then trying to blow them out with Imagination. Also would be top decking Instant Fusion. This is combo by discarding Anoku to send Edge Imp Sabers to put back Olion and normaling Ash Blossom. So it would be a waste of an Ash, but it would get to combo at least. Oh, going second, we would have had Tour Guide. This is similar to the previous hand, where we would have to normal Velor, but we would be summoning Edge Imp Sabers. This hand would be normal Decatron, pitch Edge Imp Sabers to send Skarm or Token Collector, use Edge Imp Sabers to return Sajet to the deck, use Decatron and Edge Imp Sabers for Halqifibrax combo, and set Feast using Apocalypse as a Void card, which is one of the other synergies with the deck. This is a Void Feast with a normal summoned Decatron to protect it to make sure it resolves, a Skarm search for Tour Guide, and Terraforming could either be used pushing going second, or it could be used to just search Void Expansion to keep Void Vanishment from being used as the cost for Feast. I'm now going to host a match and see what we can do with this deck. 50 card Infernoid deck. Only going to play the one match. Alright, we're going to go first. And technically I did not open combo, but I do have Decatron plus Mine, which is something. So I'm going to send Sights Moss because it can tribute itself to banish a card in graveyard, so if he has to play a card into the grave before he summons a monster, we could just lock him under Mine. Although this was not a particularly good open. But that's the problem with Infernoid decks in general. There are a lot of bricky hands because your monsters are bricks. It doesn't help that the BA monsters don't necessarily work with the Infernoid cards. The biggest synergy is that you can mill them off of interesting rituals. You can mill them off of Dante. So there's a card in his graveyard, so the moment he puts a monster on the board, he's going to be locked up pretty good. Drawing it to Vanishment or Apocalypse would be a very good thing to happen now, because then we can just keep sending Infernoids and setting up. Alright, so you might search a ritual spell. Do I care? Is the question. I think I have to save the Veiler for now. It's my tuner if I want to do the combo, but I also need it to make sure I don't die should his plays resolve. So I put Mystic Mine in the deck because my brother kept playing me using True King of All Calamities, and it was a bit of a pain to deal with using just hand traps, because his board ended on like Calamity, Savage, and draw 10. So he'd almost always have things he can do to stop me from stopping him. So I figured if I at least drew mine, I can sit there for a while and try and draw into Feast or Imagination. Let me verify what our opponent searched again. I wasn't paying full attention to that. Necros of Unicorn. There's a good chance he doesn't play an out in his deck. That happens quite often. Cosmic, so that means we have an out. There's no reason to use it currently. But having ways to turn off your own mine is always a useful thing. We are currently 1 day away from the supposed ban list, no sooner than date, so there is a good chance that it does get the axe when the ban list comes out. Our opponent finally set a monster, and is probably just going to pass. The more monsters he has, the better for me that is. Considering just ramming Skarm into his monster, but I need to make sure I can win the game when I do start pushing, so I do think I will do that for now, since there's not much he can do about that. So also thin the deck a card, and I don't really have a normal summon now, even though I do have Seer, but Seer can also be specialed. He's also probably just a slight bit confused by this, because he saw Infernoid cards and now he's seeing Burning Abyss cards, but there is no real synergy in the decks. I'm really just trying to not have to rely on just Jet Synchron, and Tour Guide also means I have the Borosword option for my Halqifibrax combo. I didn't want to just have to use it as a one card, 2 negates that usually get outed fairly easily. And the fact that he has Unicorn means that most of my extra deck won't be functional when he does summon it. So if he summons Unicorn, I'm just going to have to kill it. Probably using Sight's Moss. Okay, he summoned a Trishula, which doesn't do anything. He can't activate Churret because it's still a monster effect. The Churret activate when banished or tributed. If it's tributed, add a Necros Warrior, which would normally be Trishula. That doesn't help you. Matter of fact, it helps me. Now Imagination is a win condition here. You still can't activate monster effects, Duelist. Still can't activate monster effects. Okay, still not drawing into real playmakers here. So what can we do? I still want to thin the deck. I think I'm going to put a Tondel in play just to get more monsters. So I'm going to send a Tondel. I'm going to banish his Mirror from the graveyard. And pass, because I can't guarantee game at this point. Just because he can always have Valkyrus, even if I were to just turn off mine with Cosmic Cyclone. Alright, at least he's gotten the hang of passing. Alright, partway there. Void card is helpful. It'd be unfortunate if he had Galaxy Cyclone and then hit my Feast and then it was set up to take care of mine on the following turn. That's usually how I would use it. But I used to use my Galaxy Cyclone to pop my opponent's set card and then use it to turn off my mine, activating it in response to Feast so that it would still be on the board when Feast was activated so they couldn't ash it. Come on, give me a Void card. It would be helpful. He's discarding his Valks. That's not a good play on his part, but he is not aware of that. I see Token Collector would be dead in this match, so that would be the easy side out. Alright, he's taking another shot at drawing a card. So if he plays back removal, good for him. We would get through this faster if he would just immediately give up on looking for cards when he can't get to them. So if he's playing them, then going slower just makes this game last longer. I will be cutting a lot of the dead time of this game. I hope you appreciate that, because the timer on Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro doesn't work quite the way it used to. The old Yu-Gi-Oh! Pro, the timer was set for, I think it was a minute and 3 minutes. And as long as you kept making plays, you got more time. But on this one, you just set the timer for whatever you want. So it doesn't matter how long you take. So I always set the timer for like 1,000 seconds, which is like, I don't know, 10 minutes. And it's not because I want to wait for 10 minutes. It's because I want my opponent. It's because I don't want to get timed out by my opponent or just get stuck in a complicated combo state. Discard more Valks, please. The more Valks you discard, the more likely you are to die. Okay, I have a Void Feast. Can I get game? I would hope so. This is good timing. Complaining about being bored when you're about to die. I guess the only thing I wouldn't be able to deal with is like a double Valk. Alright. Decatron is still a tuner, so we're going to go Halqifibrax. Summoning 001. I'm going to pop his Phoenix, go into Boral Sword, normal Tour Guide, bringing out Graph, probably should have made Cherubini first in hindsight. Gonna make Dante, detaching Tour Guide, milling 3. So I have Edgem Sabers as my tribute for my Deviati. So gonna summon. No, that was a bad play. I'm forgetting that I'm counting my ranks for my Boral Sword. I'm going to use Boral Sword to put Dante in defense now. I'm going to tribute Dante to banish his Valk to show him that I'm aware of it. Not going to activate Graph at the moment. Just going to pick up Skarm. Going to summon Deviati. Then I'm going to activate the Edgem Sabers, putting my Sajet on top of the deck, so that Sabers is here to tribute for the Deviati. And we will push for game. Let's see. At worst, he has 2 Valks. First Valk will get negated by Edgem Sabers. Well, Deviati using Edgem Sabers. So that attack will land. Next attack will be with a Tondel. If he has another Valk, I can tribute a Tondel. Unless I did already. That's one game. I don't know if our opponent will want to finish this match, but we will try. I don't think I need back row removal of my own. He's going to be prepared for mine. That doesn't mean it's wrong to play. He's not really playing trap cards, but I might need to negate his monsters. Token Collector's dead. 3 more cards out. I will put in another mine. I got to take out 4 cards. I'll cut Void Expansion. Since he's probably going to go first, I'll cut Feast and Instant Fusion, I think. Which means I might be better off with Nightmare Shark, since now I don't have my Instant Fusion target. Need to cut 1 more card. I don't want to overcut Feast. That causes problems sometimes. I will cut 1 Apocalypse. I'm still working on the side deck. We'll see if our opponent figures out what to side, since it's their choice. Well, we opened combo, but we are also going second. We open combo, we have a not so useful Seer, so that's kind of a brick in the hand. I tried playing more Burning Abyss monsters, but then I just opened more unplayable cards sometimes, because if you're not playing all BAs, you sometimes just can't summon anything. But if you wanted to play just a BA deck, you could put in just the Verte. You could do the Verte and the Hal combos in a Burning Abyss deck. You just need to run a 0/1 and some O-Lions. O-Lions are also, their tokens are level 3, so they make Cherubinis. Which means you can also play as a starter. You can play, what's that card? Can't remember. See, it's a card that you play in Orcus that mills a machine. Scrap Recycler? Yeah. So Scrap Recycler can send O-Lion, which can then summon a token, which you can then go into Cherubini. It's pretty cool. Alright, so I used Colossalus to get Mirror. I clear the log so I don't get confused from my previous game. Come on, Duelist, you don't have that many choices. The problem with Decatron and the baby being an opener is that if Decatron sends a big Infernoid, you have to banish it, which means those are the ones you can summon from the graveyard normally. So this is going to add Decisive Armor. The Decisive Armor gives 1,000 attack, but I don't know if it's a quick effect. He must also have it in his hand already. His hand must suck. Okay. Well, I opened 2 BAs, so I would rather have Seer's effect here. So I'm in a Special Storm, normal Seer, go into Cherubini, going to summon back Skarm. Let's see. Send Graph to increase Cherubini's attack. Summoning Rubik. And do I have a use for a Dante or anything? Not really. Okay, so Halqifibrax is next. Gonna summon 001. Can I borrow sword OTK? Because he didn't search a dragon, I'm putting him on having a... Well, I don't have a 2000 attack power monster, which is an issue. Alright, we're just going to go into Auroradon. You can do a lot of damage like this. I can't summon 001 because it's in my hand, so I will pitch 001 to summon Jet Synchron instead. Going to tribute 2, including itself, to get O-Lion. I'm going to summon the Harmadic to destroy the Trishula. Going into Savage. And we just happen to have Herald, who happens to be stronger than Jet Synchron, so we will attack for a ton of damage. Not in the game, but very close to doing so. If I missed game and you saw a way to do it, let me know in the comments below. Gonna set Infinite Impermanence and pass to our opponent, who can search a ritual spell using his Necros Mirror, but if he's just holding, what's his name? Oh, Super Poly. That's unfortunate. That was an unforeseeable circumstance. Oh, you want to use your effects. That's fine. Herald will negate you. And then I'm going to banish one of your mirrors, which you can only use... Oh, I think you can use it if he has no cards on the field, so you might still be able to use it now, but he has nothing to summon with it at the moment. Do I have any playable cards from the graveyard? No, nothing's playable from the graveyard yet, but there's probably some things I can top deck, like Tour Guide. I have Imperm for if he gets a play going. But yeah, Super Poly is a hell of a card when it works. He also banished his Unicorn, which usually is for Kaleidoscope. Normally you would use Kaleidoscope to summon Unicorn, so it's kind of a weird hand he had. Come on, Duelist, pass. You have nothing you can do. There we go. Well, that'll get us to there. That'll get us to game. Just gotta summon Sightsmoss. And that is the game. Let me go back to the deck list. If you have any questions about BA Infernoids or have any suggestions on adjustments I can make to the deck, because again, no one else is playing it, so there's really no one to compare to. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just leave them in the comments section down below. Like, subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and I'll see if I can do this in the future. Have a great day.